Just for a moment, stop and look at this. This isn't just a pretty picture, a passive wallpaper for your screen. This is the most critical, the most volatile, the most profoundly transformative hour on the entire planet. This savanna, right now, at dusk, is not a landscape, it's a ticking clock. It's a switchboard where every single connection is being rewired live. You are looking at the grand central station of life on Earth, where every actor in the greatest drama ever staged is rushing to make their last train before the absolute, inescapable lockdown of night. We see the beauty, the postcard serenity, but we are completely missing the war room, the panic, the strategy, the life and death calculations happening in every blade of grass, in every shadow, in the eyes of every creature you can and cannot see. This is not an end. It's a frantic, desperate, and exquisitely orchestrated transition between two completely different worlds that exist on the very same patch of Earth. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to pull back that velvet curtain of color and show you what is actually happening. I'm going to give you a pair of eyes that can see in the dark, ears that can hear the whispers of the grass, and an understanding that will forever change how you see this time of day. This is the truth of the savanna at dusk, and you will never look at twilight the same way again. Let's start with the most obvious change, the light. This golden hour, this magic hour photographers love, is not magic for the inhabitants here. It is a countdown. It is a rapidly diminishing resource, more precious than water in a drought. For the last 12 hours, the sun has been the great equalizer, a giant spotlight that kept the rules of engagement clear. See and be seen. But now, that spotlight is being dimmed by a master stagehand. The long, deep shadows you see stretching from these acacia trees aren't just artistic. They are corridors of ambiguity. They are places where a zebra's stripe can blur into a bush, where a lion's tawny coat can melt into the dry grass. The light is becoming directional, horizontal, stripping away depth perception. For a hunter like a cheetah, this is a moment of intense frustration. Its supreme weapon, devastating speed calibrated for clear. Long-distance vision is being compromised. Its targeting system is glitching. For the prey, this is a moment of deceptive hope. Maybe, just maybe, that shape in the shifting shadow is just a stump. But this game of visual ambiguity is just the opening act. As the sun finally kisses the horizon, we trigger the first major shift in power on the savanna. The handover from the diurnal, the day shift, to the crepuscular, the twilight specialist. And this handover is not peaceful. It is a chaotic overlap, a shift change where both shifts are on the factory floor at the same time, armed and deeply suspicious of each other. The diurnal animals, the elephants, the zebras, the antelope, the giraffes are in a state of heightened, almost manic activity. This is their final window. The elephants are making crucial decisions. Do they continue on their long march to a distant waterhole, risking the treacherous darkness? Or do they huddle the calves in the middle, forming a living fortress right here, and wait out the night? Their low-frequency rumbles, sounds we can barely hear, are now crisscrossing the landscape with urgent messages, family check-ins, and warnings. The zebra herds are bunched up tighter. Their stunning stripes, which in the midday sun create a confusing dazzle effect for pursuing lions, now serve a different purpose. In the failing light, they help individuals keep visual contact with each other, creating a moving, pulsating mass that is harder for a predator to isolate a single target from. The giraffes, those serene giants, are no longer leisurely browsing. They are taking last, huge gulps from the acacia trees, their heads swiveling constantly, their large eyes gathering. Every last photon of light, they are the sentinels of the savanna, and their nervous energy telegraphs to everyone else that the rules are changing. But even as the day shift races against time, the first members of the night shift are already clocking in. Listen, do you hear that? Not the deep whoop of a hyena yet, but the soft, almost imperceptible rustle in the grass at the base of our iconic acacia tree. A small, pointed nose emerges, followed by whiskers and enormous, dark eyes. This is a galago, a bush baby. It has been sleeping in a tree hollow all day, and its world is just beginning. Its eyes are not just large, they have a mirror-like layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum, a biological night vision device that will catch and reflect any scrap of light, making its eyes shine like tiny torches if we were to look with a flashlight. It is waiting for the precise moment when the light is low enough that its supreme night vision gives it the advantage, but before the absolute dark brings out the larger, more dangerous players. This acacia tree is not just a symbol of Africa, it is a vertical city, and its inhabitants are changing shifts. The weaver birds are settling into their intricate nests with a final, noisy squabble securing the entrance, and in the thorny branches, a roosting hawk might be displaced by a waking nightjar. This is the first critical layer of the dusk transition, the sensory shift where the primary currency of survival changes from sharp sight to sound, to smell, to vibration, to a different kind of sight altogether. And we haven't even gotten to the temperature. Narrator, as that visual drama unfolds, a quieter, more universal revolution is taking place, the great cooling. For 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours, the sun has been a relentless hammer on the anvil of the savanna, baking the soil, raising temperatures to a blistering 40-45 degrees Celsius. The very air has been a heavy, visible blanket shimmering with heat waves that distort the horizon. Every creature has been engaged in a desperate battle against overheating, seeking shade, panting, minimizing movement. But now, with the sun gone, that thermal energy stored in every rock, every termite mound, every inch of bare earth begins to radiate back out into the vastness of space. The temperature doesn't just drop, it plummets. This isn't a gentle evening breeze, it's a systemic reset. And this thermal crash triggers a cascade of biological imperatives more urgent than any predator's approach. For the large mammals, this is a moment of profound relief, but also of new vulnerability. An elephant's massive body holds heat like a mountain holds snow. In the day, it uses its enormous ears as radiators, flapping them to pump cooled blood back to its core. Now, it may turn its broadside to the last remnant of warmth, or even seek out the still warm rocks. For a lion, the cooling is a gift. Its heavy muscular build is ill-suited for the heat of the day, which is why it sleeps so much. Now, its engine can run cooler, more efficiently. But the most dramatic impact of the cooling is on the world of the small and the cold-blooded. The savanna soil, which was a lethal griddle a few hours ago, is now becoming habitable again. This is the signal for one of the most spectacular emergences on the planet. From tiny burrows, from cracks in the earth, from under logs, and at the bases of grasses, the arthropod army rises. First, perhaps, the beetles, their hard carapaces, clicking as they navigate the now cooler soil. Then the spiders who may have spent the day in a silken retreat, now venture out to repair or build new webs, which in the dawn will be jeweled with dew and with luck with breakfast. But the masters of the dusk are the termites and the ants. Their colonies are vast, subterranean metropolises, and the cooling, coupled with the specific humidity of dusk, often triggers a synchronized, explosive exodus of winged reproductives, the elates. In a spectacle that can darken the local sky, thousands upon thousands of these fragile, winged insects pour out of their nest entrances in a frantic bid to mate and found new colonies. It is a bonanza. It is a living, swirling cloud of protein, and every crepuscular predator knows it. Birds who delayed their migration to roost will make last, frantic flights. The awakening galagos will leap with impossible precision to snatch them from the air. Even larger animals like aardvarks and anteaters, whose world is defined by temperature and the activity of their prey, become fully active now, using powerful claws to tear into termite mounds, their long, sticky tongues firing like pistons. The cooling earth has turned the savanna from a desert of heat into a buffet of abundance, but only for those equipped to access it. And then there is the water. The relationship of every savanna creature to water is a defining saga of their lives. and dusk is the prime time for this negotiation. The scorching day has desiccated the landscape. Plants have closed their stomata. Animals have minimized water loss. But as the air cools, its relative humidity rises. It may not be enough to form rain, but it is enough to change the calculus. Dew begins to form, a microscopic film of life on blades of grass. For many insects and small creatures, this is a vital water source. Larger herbivores, who may have traveled a dangerous distance to a waterhole, now approach with a tension you can feel. A waterhole at dusk is the most dangerous place on the savanna. It is a nexus, a crossroads where every path of need converges. The fading light creates a perceptual nightmare. Is that log on the far bank just a log? Or is it a crocodile whose thermal vision is now coming online as the water retains the day's heat longer than the air? Are those shadows in the brush just bushes or a pride of lions, knowing full well that thirst will eventually drive their prey to them? Elephants, as often the boldest, may go in first, their size affording some protection. They will drink, splash, and churn the water and mud, which in turn creates smaller, temporary pools for other animals. But for a zebra or an impala, every sip is a gamble with death. Their heads go down, their world shrinks to the water, and for those few seconds, they are blind and deaf to the approaching stalk. This is the moment predators have waited for all day. The cooling air carries scent differently, not in the rising thermals of the day, but in settling horizontal layers. A lion can now catch the scent of a herd at a waterhole from downwind with incredible clarity. The stage is set not just by the fading light, but by this thermal inversion, this chilling of the stage itself, which rewrites all the rules of engagement. And as we transition from the gold and purple of late dusk into the deep blue of early night, the final, most absolute change occurs. The complete surrender of the world to the specialists of the dark. This is where our human perception fails utterly and where the true savanna reveals itself. Now, we cross the threshold. The last vestige of color drains from the western sky, leaving a vault of deep indigo blue pierced by the first defiant stars. For us, this is the end of the show. We pack up our cameras, we light a fire, we retreat. Our world has ended. But for the savanna, the main event is just beginning. We are now in the realm of the non-visual. The world is no longer a picture. It is a symphony of sound, a tapestry of scent, a map of vibration. Close your eyes with me for a moment, because here on the savanna at night, closing your eyes doesn't make you blind, it makes you more aware. Let's start with the soundscape. The raucous, territorial bird songs of the day, the doves, the hornbills, the francolins are gone. Replacing them is a more subtle, more sinister, and more complex orchestra. The whoop of the spotted hyena, not the laugh of a clown, but the resonant, rising call of a highly intelligent social predator coordinating a hunt over miles of darkness. That sound alone can make the hair on your neck stand up, a primal recognition of a potent threat. Then, the sawing cough of a leopard, a sound that seems to rasp through the very bark of the trees. Perhaps the deep, vibrating grunt of a lion, a sound you feel in your chest more than hear with your ears. But beneath these headline acts is a constant living static, the chirping of a million crickets and katydids, each species with its own frequency and pattern, creating a sonic blanket that is itself a tool. For a predator like a bat or a nightjar, this insect chorus is a sonar map, a buzzing beacon leading to food. For a small rodent navigating the grass, that same chorus is cover, a way to mask the tiny sounds of its own movement from the keen ears of an owl. Ah, the owl. Let's talk about hearing. The barn owl, a ghostly pale shape that might haunt the larger branches of our acacia, has a hearing system that is arguably the most refined in the animal kingdom. Its facial disc is not just for show, it's a parabolic satellite dish, funneling the faintest sounds, the squeak of a mouse in the grass 50 meters away, the scuttle of a beetle in leaf, littered directly into its asymmetrical ear openings. This allows it to create a three-dimensional auditory map so precise it can strike in pitch blackness, guided only by sound. Its wings are fringed, making its flight utterly silent. So, while our eyes see nothing, the owl sees a clear, bright world of noise. Similarly, the elephant we saw earlier is now communicating in a network we are deaf to. Their infrasound rumbles, frequencies too low for human hearing, can travel for tens of kilometers through the ground. They are having long-distance conversations about danger, about water, about social bonds, their feet sensitive to the vibrations traveling up through the soil. The savanna at night is a web of these low-frequency calls, a secret internet of giants. And then their smell. As the thermal turbulence of the day ceases, the air stabilizes. Scents no longer rise and scatter. They pool, they flow along contours, they linger. For a predator like a hyena or a wild dog, a scent trail left hours ago can now be followed with crystal clarity. They can smell the fear pheromones of a panicked herd, the distinct odor of a birthing animal from a staggering distance. Their world is a landscape painted in odors, each one a story, a warning, or a promise of food. But the most profound adaptation is the biological light amplification of true nocturnal hunters. We saw the bush baby's eyes, but now consider the eyes of a large spotted jenna or a serval cat. Their pupils can open so wide they almost swallow the entire eye, letting in every conceivable photon. And that tapetum lucidum, that mirror layer, gives the light receptor cells in their retina a second chance to capture each precious particle of light. This is why their eyes shine when caught in a beam you're seeing your own light reflected back. They see in a world of grainy, green-tinted monochrome, but they see movement with a clarity we cannot imagine. A twitch of a tail in the grass 100 meters away is as obvious to them as a flashing neon sign is to us. This is why prey animals freeze when threatened at night. Movement is betrayal. An impala will stand statue still, knowing its camouflage and silence are its only shields. This entire ecosystem has bifurcated into two parallel universes: the bright, colorful, long-distance world of the day, and this intimate, close-range, hypersensitive world of sound, scent, and amplified light of the night. And the acacia tree, our silent sentinel, is at the heart of it all. Its thorns protect sleeping birds. Its branches offer travel routes for leopards and genets. Its flowers may open at night to be pollinated by bats. Its leaves, toxic to many, are carefully processed by the gut of a giraffe that browsed it at dusk. It is not a passive prop, it is an active participant, a provider, a fortress, and a monument in both of these worlds. And as the night deepens, the rhythm of life settles into a new, purposeful tempo. The frantic overlap of dusk is over. The shift change is complete. The day shift sleeps, fitfully, ears twitching at every sound. The night shift is in full silent swing. But this is not a permanent state. Even as the night creatures hunt and forage, the eastern horizon holds a tiny, imperceptible promise. The cycle is relentless. And the savanna knows in its bones that the countdown to another chaotic, beautiful, dangerous dusk has already begun. So, here we are in the absolute deep of the night. This is the phase of specialization, where the creatures who have waited out the blinding day now own the world. But let's delve deeper into the intricacies of this ownership, because it's not a free-for-all. There is a precise, almost bureaucratic order to the darkness. Think of it as a complex market with different stalls opening at specific times, catering to specific clans. The large predators we fear the most, the lion prides, the leopard, the hyena clans, they are the mega corporations. They operate on a scale that shapes the entire landscape. A lion's hunt, even if unsuccessful, dictates where herds will move tomorrow. A hyena clan's midden, their communal latrine, is a chemical bulletin board broadcasting their territorial claims for miles. Their movements create zones of fear, landscapes of apprehension that alter grazing patterns and seed dispersal. But beneath these giants is a bustling economy of small and medium-sized enterprises. The serval cat, with its enormous ears and leggy stance, specializes in listening for the high-frequency scratches of rodents in their grass runway systems. It will pause, cock its head, and then perform a spectacular vertical pounce, pinning its prey with its front paws. The aardwolf, a shy relative of the hyena, doesn't hunt meat at all. It uses its long, sticky tongue to lick up thousands of a single species of termite. A specialist feeding on a specialist, a beautiful example of a narrow evolutionary niche carved out in the darkness. And in the trees, a different drama unfolds. This is the world of the strict arboreal specialists. The galago, or bush baby, is a vertical acrobat. Its enormous eyes give it stereoscopic vision for judging leaps. And its large, independently movable ears can pinpoint the location of a moth in flight or an insect on a branch. It communicates with its family group using a repertoire of cries, which indeed sound like a human baby, and complex scent marks from glands on its chest and feet, turning the acacia canopy into a personalized, scented social network. Sharing that canopy might be a pangolin, the scaled anteater, a living fossil armored in keratin, foraging for ants with a tongue that extends longer than its own body. It is a creature of profound silence and solitude, and its world is defined by the chemical trails of its prey and the texture of bark under its claws. This intricate partitioning of resources by prey type, by hunting method, by height above ground is what allows such an incredible density of life to thrive in what seems to us like a barren, hostile darkness. They are not competing in the same arena. They have each built their own, perfectly tailored arena within the greater night. But the night is not static. It has its own internal rhythm, its own tide. The position of the moon is a master regulator. On nights near the full moon, the world is bathed in a silvery, low-contrast light. This is a mixed blessing. For prey animals, it means greater visibility of approaching threats, but it also means they are more visible. Some studies suggest that lions may hunt less successfully on bright nights because their stalking camouflage is less effective. On dark, moonless nights, the advantage swings dramatically back to the predators with specialized night vision and hearing. The hunting success of an owl or a leopard might skyrocket. Temperature continues to drop, often reaching its lowest point just before dawn. This cold is a severe stressor. Small animals lose body heat rapidly. A shrew or a mouse must consume nearly its own body weight in insects each night just to fuel its frantic metabolism. For them, the night is a race against starvation and freezing. This is why the insect hatch we discussed at dusk was so critical. It was a massive ingestion of calories into the system at the exact moment the night shift needed it most. The cold also affects plants. Some, like certain succulents, open their stomata at night to take in carbon dioxide, while minimizing water loss, a process called crassulacean acid metabolism. They are, in a very real sense, breathing in the night, storing the day's sunlight in a different chemical form. Even the savanna itself is metabolizing differently after dark. And all the while, a subtle change is brewing in the east. It is imperceptible to the animals still deep in their nocturnal routines, but it is inexorable. The stars directly overhead begin to fade, not from cloud cover, but from the first faintest dilution of the blackness by a sun still far below the horizon. This is the first hint of the next great transition. The pace of the night creatures begins to shift, almost imperceptibly. Predators who have made a kill are settling down to feed or cache their meal. Those who haven't may be getting desperate, taking more risks as their window of opportunity starts, from a cosmic perspective, to close. The deep, resonant calls of the large predators become less frequent. The insect chorus may change tempo, and high in the acacia tree, the first early rising bird, perhaps a robin chat, might let out a A single experimental chirp, a tiny probe thrown into the silence of the fading night. It is a neurological trigger. That one sound can begin to cascade. Another bird answers. The galago, finishing its final rounds, scurries back to its tree hole. The leopard, if it is made a kill, might drag its prize higher into the branches, seeking safety from the coming shift change, and the scavengers, like hyenas and vultures that operate in the in-between times. The great wheel is turning again. The absolute dominion of the night specialists is being gently, but firmly, challenged by the approaching dawn. The rules are about to be rewritten once more, in reverse, and the Savanna, an entity far wiser and more resilient than any single creature within it, prepares for the daily handover. A handover that is never clean, never peaceful, and is the very engine of its impossible, breathtaking diversity. We are coming full circle, back to the moment of chaos, back to the edge of light, and so the wheel turns. The indigo in the east pales to violet, then to rose gold. Dawn breaks, the inverse of dusk, but with its own mirrored chaos. The night shift clocks out, the day shift stirs. The world floods with color and long shadows once more. The temperature climbs. The Savanna has survived another revolution, and as the sun ascends, baking the land, it might seem like the frantic, hidden drama of the dusk and night was just a dream, a secret interlude. But it wasn't. It is the foundation. That acacia tree at dusk is not a static postcard. It is a living chronicle. Every scar on its bark tells a story, a leopard's claw mark from climbing a giraffe's browse line, an elephant's rub. Its roots have felt the infrasound rumbles of distant herds. Its branches have held the sleeping day shift and the hunting night shift. It has witnessed a billion of these transitions. It is the anchor point for the entire, swirling, chaotic, beautiful system. The drama of dusk is the drama of life itself, the constant, tense, and exquisite negotiation between opposing forces, light and dark, heat and cold, hunter and hunted, silence, sound. It is the daily bottleneck through which the entire Savanna must pass, and in that passing it is forged, tested, and defined. This understanding changes everything. When you look at the iconic image of the Savanna at dusk now, I hope you don't just see a beautiful landscape. I hope you feel the electric tension in the air. I hope you hear the silent cacophony of decisions being made. I hope you sense the thermal crash, the scent pools, the vibration of distant footsteps. You are looking at a biological switchboard, at the peak of its activity. You are looking at a story with 5,000 characters, each with its own desperate, vital agenda. The beauty is real, but it is the beauty of a perfectly tuned engine, of a symphony so complex, we can only ever grasp a fraction of its score. That silhouetted acacia is no longer just a tree, it is a watchtower, a restaurant, a nursery, a battlefield, and a monument all at once. This perspective is a gift. It is the gift of seeing the invisible layers of the world. And this is why we must protect these places with everything we have. The Savanna is not a remote, indifferent expanse. It is the beating heart of a planetary rhythm, a masterclass in adaptation and interconnection. Its fragility is matched only by its resilience, but that resilience has limits. Understanding its deep, intricate cycles like the critical, transformative power of dusk makes the imperative to conserve it not just an emotional one, but an intellectual and existential one. We are not saving a picture. We are saving a universe of meaning, a library of survival strategies, an epic poem written in the language of light, shadow, and life. This is the story I wanted to tell you today, a story hidden in plain sight every single evening on grasslands across the world. But this is just one thread in a vast tapestry. The natural world is full of these hidden clocks, these secret switchovers, these daily dramas that redefine entire ecosystems. From the tidal zones of coast to the canopy of rainforests, the principle is the same. Change is the only constant, and life is the art of mastering that change. And this is where I need you. If this journey from dusk to dawn and back again changed your perspective, if it made you see the world a little differently, then your role begins now. First, and most importantly, hit that like button right now. It's the single best way to tell YouTube's algorithm that this kind of deep dive, original content storytelling matters, that it should be shared. Then, subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell, because I am committed to pulling back the curtain on more of these hidden worlds. Every single week, I'll be bringing you a new, meticulously researched, story-driven exploration that goes far beyond the surface, just like this one. We'll dive into the secret language of forests, the intelligence of oceans, the unseen wars in your backyard soil stories that connect the dots and reveal the breathtaking patterns of our planet. But I also want to hear from you. This isn't a one-way street. Down in the comments, I want you to tell me, what hidden cycle of nature fascinates you the most? Is it the migration of monarch butterflies, the hibernation of bears, the blooming of a desert after rain? Tell me what you'd like us to explore next. Your ideas will fuel future videos. And finally, share this video. Share it with that friend who loves nature documentaries, with that family member who needs a dose of wonder, with anyone you think would appreciate seeing the Savanna and our world through this new lens. Let's build a community of curious minds who see the invisible threads that hold everything together. The Savanna at dusk taught us that the most profound truths are often hidden in transitions, in the spaces between one state and another. Your click, your subscription, your comment, that's a transition too. It's the moment you move from being a passive viewer to an active part of this community of curiosity. Let's make that transition together. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for caring. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll uncover another hidden layer of this incredible world. Until then, keep looking closer.